Hello, and welcome to another insightful episode of Experiential Pathways podcast. I'm your host, Mrinalini, and today we have a topic that's not relevant to academics but also crucial for high school students gearing up for exams. Today, our topic is Crack the Books, Not Your Nerves, Navigating Exams with Expert Insights. Hi, Ankita, how are you doing? I heard you're enjoying the pleasant weather in Dubai.
Hi, Mrinalini. I'm doing very well, dear. Thank you so much. Indeed, it's a great weather here in Dubai, and we always look forward for this part of the year so that we can enjoy some nice, pleasant stay out in parks and beachside. So thank you very much. But I heard it's quite chilling back there in India.
Yeah, it's really chilly. But yeah, we are enjoying the side of the winter side of here. So okay, so before we dive into the fascinating world of emotional intelligence during high school exams, I have to ask you this. Picture this: a stressed out student with textbooks scattered and notes in disarray. If you could magically impart one nugget of wisdom to calm their nerves and boost their confidence, what would it be?
Yeah. Great start, I must say. This is exam season. It's not flu, it's exam fever, which is all around. And look up to those the poor faces of those students who are struggling and doing their best. And very rightly, you actually illustrated that the entire study desk is right now cluttered and overloaded with the possible books they can refer to and everything, right? I totally understand that they do have a different level of anxiety at this point in time, in spite of the fact that they are prepared. But there is an unsaid, tug of war going within themselves. The only nugget I want to pass it on to these students who are all pepped up for the upcoming exams is to do a self talk for a small, short duration. Sit down and do a self talk and do what in that? Conversate with yourself to bring some positive affirmations. You are doing great. You have been putting all your possible efforts. All you need is to remove the clutter from your desk and from your brain and any air of doubt which you have. Remove it and just talk with yourself. Spend some time for reflection and say, I'm doing the best of my version I possible, and I'm gonna do great in my exams. And trust me, if you try this out, you're gonna thank to listen this particular podcast of ours.
Yeah, that's a nugget of wisdom and mind. So let's now zoom into the realm of emotional intelligence. Ankita, for our listeners who are on the edge of their seats, how do you think does cultivating emotional intelligence become a secret weapon for these high schoolers and tackling those dreaded exams? What secrets can you unveil from your treasure trove of insights?
Beautiful again. Um, Examinations is primarily a way of doing a SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. This is a very common word which is now used by different categories of people. I mean, it's not something new. It's ages old now, but it has come down to an acceptance level of these students, because now they understand that if I am preparing for an exam, I'm not just doing it for the sake of securing good marks for a better future and a higher career. Rather, I'm also keen to know the amount of efforts, the amount of exposure I have gained in this entire 1 year. Where do I stand when it comes to knowledge? Because this is where I will identify my strength for my future moves. I will come to know my weaknesses, which needs an extra curve of learning. And of course, there are opportunities and threats which I need to be mindful of. So, examination has now become a pattern of, um, you know, identifying these four parameters of every individual in a given point in time. It needs to be used as a weapon when we talk about emotional intelligence in the examination time. If you are emotionally stable, and Rinal, I must admit here that this is a very sensible time stamp. When exams are about to start, your preparations are at par, but the confidence is still fluctuating. And the second timestamp comes in the months when the results are about to declare. Now, these two are the crucial months of the year when the emotional quotient plays a very, very vital role, and you surely need a very conscious efforts to balance it out. It is not only the student who who is responsible for its self orientation. It is definitely the teachers, for sure the parents, and the friends, the peers, who are completely creating this entire ecosystem of balancing out an individual's emotional quotient. So, what do we do? How do we use this weapon to our favor? It is very easy to say that, okay, have a balanced emotional intelligence, make sure that you are not losing out your confidence. So, there's a way to use this tool, right? So, I make it easier for my audience to hear this out. Simply replace stress with resilience. If you are not able to do some particular portion of your syllabus or some particular concept which is not yet you're clear of, you start building stress about it. What if this comes as my in my exam? How am I going to write it up? I am still not aware of. Relax. This will build up the it will pile up more stress, and it will affect the topics which you're already aware of. Better is resilience. Go, take some new references, speak out to those students or those teachers who are subject matter in that particular topic, and keep attempting with a very learned approach, not just because you are head on to it. It's a learned approach because you have to deep dive and find out what in that particular subject is making me a trouble and I'm unable to grow further. While you replace stress with resilience, try to replace worry with confidence. Stop worrying. Things have to happen. You have to write the exam at the right time, at the right place. You will succeed, provided you have confidence in what you have done to reach to that level when you're actually in the examination hall and writing the exam. So, worry needs to be completely replaced by confidence, and any air of doubt should be totally replaced by a belief. When I said the word nugget, I want you to have a self belief. Believe in what you are doing is for your own good benefit, and it's enough, it's sufficient. You don't need someone in the outside world to attest to your preparations, because you know that you are preparing for your own good self and be the best version of your performance in the examinations. So, in that case, if you ask me, this is a particular weapon which will help you to avoid the words like stress and doubts, because these will create unintended shadows on your confidence level, and nobody wants that because you are confident to what you're doing. So rather create strategies for success rather than sitting down and keep stressing and getting engaged into more worried approach. At the same time, ensure you're avoiding anxiety ridden discussions with anybody, even for that matter, if your parents. Sit down, spend some time with them, and tell them that you are at par and they need to be there to empower your strength. And if it's parent who's listening to this podcast, it is very important for you to cut this off, because whatever anxiety driven discussions happens in the atmosphere at home, it actually affects the perception of your child's it affects the way the child perceived to perform in the upcoming exams. So let not that happen. Rather, boost their confidence and let them use their emotional quotient very smartly, because they are smart and they are doing their best to achieve the best for themselves. Should that answer your question, Mrinal?
Yes, definitely. Great insights, Ankita. So now I'm gonna quickly jump to the practical tips you might have for the exam season coming up, and because I believe that practical advice is always valuable, especially for the students in the midst of exams. What are some practical tips or exercises that you think high school students can incorporate in their daily lives during the critical period to nurture emotional intelligence?
Indeed, indeed. It's an important question, audience, and you must listen to this very carefully and, in fact, mindfully, because some of the tips which we are going to discuss here, you might be implementing, but in a different pace and at a different priority level. Having said that, it is given an examination is more or less like a project which needs a well planned, structured approach until you deliver on the day of examination. So, when you are putting everything in a structured format, you surely need some kind of guidelines. And these guidelines is what we are going to discuss in the form of tips. The topmost, the number one, the first most important point to remember is to have a study planner. If you do not have a study planner, that too with the realistic deadlines, you're doing no good to yourself, because a study planner actually gives you the entire path divided into subparts, and these subparts are to be completed in a given span of time. Make sure that you actually spend a day, a full complete day. Look at your syllabus. If you haven't done it in past, do it now. Pick up that date, maybe tomorrow, maybe now, depend on when are you listening to this podcast of ours. But pick up your entire syllabus and divide it into some reasonably timestamps to be covered. So this is your first most important uh, tip to be remembered when you claim that you are now preparing for your exams. The next one in queue, the second important tip is to make sure that you are disciplined towards these designed timelines. It is no one else who has given you these timelines. Finish portion A in 5 days, finish portion B in 3 days. Portion C looks easy, you can finish it in 1 day of time. So just sum up the number of days, and following number of days are given to syllabus of subject 1. You gave these deadlines based on your understanding of the subject, and if not, you are not disciplined, then there's no one else in the world who can help you. The only outcome of being indisciplined will be anxiety, stress, worriness, can be anything beyond these words as well. So, what you are required to do is to make sure that you are realistic in these deadlines. Be true to yourself. If a given topic is good and well known to you, do not unnecessarily give an extra time to it, because that extra hour can be used for a subject or a topic which needs a bit more of practice. So, identify the planner, stick to the deadlines, and the third tip which comes is surely of great importance for everyone on this earth, whosoever goes for some kind of performance, be it an examination or be it on in any other part of the world, is any part of the life. It's revision. Revise your concepts, revise what you're learning, and the best way to revise is to collect kinds of modules, the module test which you get. One pattern you might have got from your school, one pattern you might have got from your social learning group where you're learning, some patterns you might have found from Google, but do not stop there. The more you practice, the more you become better in your subject. So find out the time for revision and find out the time to receive or look for resources which can give more number of such module tests for you. It will help you to reinstate the learning at every point in time you are attempting a quest. Okay, moving on, the next important tip is to reflect on your learning. Whatever you have learned in a given subject at a given point in time, you have to give a 1 day to reflect. Where are you heading to? You have a study planner, you have a topic to be covered, but is the learning really happening or not? When you reflect, you will identify your weaknesses are shifting towards the quadrant of your strength. You are becoming a better version of yours than what you were when you started. So this reflection is directly proportional to your confidence. So a self-confidence comes when you actually look back at yourself. Well done. Well done, Ankita. You started a preparation from point A. Now you have reached a point B. You are improving. But my limit is to go to point C, maybe beyond that. So this is only possible when I am getting more and more revisions done, when I'm reflecting more and more on my learning. And when I'm doing all of this, the most important and the last tip I would like to mention out here is to take conscious breaks in your learning pattern. You really don't have to slog through your learning study patterns. You don't have to slog for hours and hours and uninterrupted studies. No, it doesn't work that way. Your brain, your learning brain will shut down for some time, and then whatever you're reading, you're not going to comprehend it. So it's always important that in your study planner, give some space for breaks as well, and keep yourself hydrated. Drink lots of water, keep yourself hydrated, do bit of meditation, and you can even you can do some kind of a breathing exercise which really helps to calm your inner side, and you make sure that you are back to what you where you left your studies. So if you follow these 5 fundamental tools which I have presented to my audience, I'm pretty confident that you will have a far stronger control on your emotional balance when you're actually going to deliver the exams in the examination halls. Back to you, Mrinalini.
Thank you so much, Ankita. So, for our listeners, could you help me recall the 5 tips that you have mentioned here? So, number one that we mentioned is,
Study planner with a realistic deadline.
and number two,
Disciplined timelines.
number three,
Revisions and attempt to module test.
number four,
Reflect on your learning.
and the last one, number five.
Conscious breaks.
Great. So I think I wish I somewhat could have given me these tips. I never knew these could help. So, okay. So without taking much of your time as we wrap up, what role do you see emotional intelligence playing in shaping the future success of high school students, not just academically, but also in their broader personal and professional journey?
Very good. See, these are not just the high school students anymore. These are futuristic leaders. They are the ones who are going to shape the shape different industries once they grow up. So it is very very crucial for them to know the importance of emotional intelligence and what their emotional quotient is. For those who are not unsure of what this emotional intelligence really talks about, in a fundamental language or in a very layman language, it is actually the ability of you as a human to identify and regulate your emotions and at the same time understand the emotions of the others. So if you have this kind of an understanding, we say that, hey, congratulations, you have a very strong emotional quotient, right? Like how you have IQ, you have EQ as well. Now, how does it benefit you as an individual in your life, in the life to come ahead? If you are a very if you hold a command on your emotional quotient, you can be sure of that you are surely going to help yourself to build stronger relationships. You will, when I say stronger relationships, this does not mean just related to your family or just related to your office, but in every sphere of life, maybe with friends and any surroundings you live and grow with. How? Because this is going to reduce your stress levels, not just within you, but with people who are associated with you. And a very simple reason how it helps in reducing stress is, since your emotional quotient is strong, you know how to diffuse a conflict. You will face a lot of conflicts in life. We all face it and it is very unprecedented. The conflicts can come in any form. But if an individual's emotional quotient is strong, the person knows how to express and resolve it or diffuse it for that matter, to ensure that the stress level goes down and the bonding increases. But if you ask me, Mrinalini, I would always tell people that please spend some time in building up your emotional intelligence, because when you do that, you're actually learning the way to reach or achieve the level of contention. When you are contented, you're more calm and you're more focused to move next in your life. So these are some of the benefits which helps every individual, including you, me, and everyone, every listener of this podcast, to have a very balanced and oriented emotional quotients in our individual lives.
Fantastic. So, thank you so much, Ankita, for shedding light on this vital intersection of emotional intelligence, experiential learning, and the challenges faced by the high school students during exams. To our listeners, as you embark on your exam journey, remember that emotional intelligence is your ally. So, Ankita, do you have any concluding words before we wrap up the session today?
Yes, I am talking a lot about balancing out emotions and killing the anxiety. It is an overwhelming time, dear students, and we all have gone through this. This is a phase of life which is bound to come in every individual's life. High school exams are the milestones. You have to achieve the best you can. Do not rush to compare your performance with others. For you, you have to beat your last best score and be your own competitor. I'm very sure each one of you are going to do the best in your lives. And from bottom of my heart, I wish you all the best for your exams.
Until next time, this is Mrinalini Singh, your host, and we'll see you on the other side where we are going to bring you a lot more exciting and valuable insights into the world of global education. So stay tuned and keep sending love.